Menma Uzumaki is a version of Naruto with absurdly above-average powers. He's a character that goes unnoticed by many, probably because he comes from the movie Road to Ninja, and a lot of people consider him just filler. However, he's a very powerful and also very overlooked character, and he makes us think about the potential Naruto could have had if he hadn't chosen to follow the will of fire and had instead been consumed by the curse of hatred. His goal was to gather all powers in existence, including Kekkei Genkai, Jutsus, and Biju, and with them rule the ninja world. To be honest, he's a mix of Naruto, Pain, and Obito. Today we're going to talk about him, Menma, a Naruto capable of wiping out the entire Hidden Leaf Village with a single jutsu, as well as controlling Kurama in a completely unique way. This version of Naruto is a total monster in terms of power, and he can easily be compared to several Akatsuki level characters. And today, we're going to take a deep dive into his true level, his references, and whether or not we can consider this guy canon. Let's start by talking about this guy's destructive potential. Yes, with his Dairasen Ringu, he was able to completely destroy Konoha. The destruction of Konoha, as we saw during the Pain Invasion arc, wasn't simple. All that chaos and destruction came at the cost of a huge amount of chakra and effort from Nagato, since he had to deactivate all the other bodies just to use the Deva path properly, and launch a massive Shinra Tensei over the entire village. In Menma's case, he didn't need any preparation, he just used the jutsu on the village, and that was it. The name of the jutsu, Dairasen Ringu, references the Rasengan, but it also has an interesting meaning of its own. Ringu, Lunyu, is formed by two kanji that together mean cycle of concerns, or cycle of anxiety and fear, something that suggests a return of despair, very similar to Obito's theme, since he also wanted to bring despair to the ninja world's reality. This and Menma's other techniques don't seem to have a clearly declared element, leaving the nature of his jutsus pretty open. However, everything suggests he has gravitational techniques like Pain's, based on the way he moves, flies, and the anti-gravity theme of his Rasengan. He also showed wind-style techniques in his arsenal. He can fly, block attacks with telekinetic projections very similar to Pain's, and use wind-style quite freely. Even so, Menma is different from Naruto in several ways, and one of them is how he fights. His connection with Kurama is very different from the one Naruto eventually develops. Because of that, Menma created a jutsu called the Nine-Masked Beasts, where he divides Kurama's chakra into 9 parts, each with distinct properties. They are Azure Blue Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Black Tortoise. If you watch my Maido Guy video, you'll recognize these as the 4 mythological guardian beasts from Chinese mythology, also used in Guy's 8 Gates techniques. Then we have the Golden Serpent, probably referring to Huang Long from Chinese mythology, the Celestial Maiden, divine feminine spiritual beings found in Japanese Buddhism, the Soul Reaper, the Shinigami, but not the same one we know from summonings. And finally, the Northern Hermit and the Southern Hermit, concepts that also appear in the Akatsuki rings, like those of Kisame and Kakuzu, so there may be some deeper meaning there. Now, I'll give a brief summary of the most relevant abilities of each beast. The first 5 didn't show many unique abilities beyond synchronized physical attacks, almost like puppets, so I'll focus on the last 4, which have more interesting feats. Tenyo, Celestial Maiden. Good for mid-range attacks by manipulating her bandages. She's effective at restraining opponents and coordinating with the other beasts in synchronized attacks. Shinigami. Has the ability to reap opponents' chakra through chakra waves from his scythe. It's an interesting long-range drain ability. Northern/Southern Hermits. Their attack works somewhat similarly to Seikon and Ukon when it comes to creating barriers together. They strike their staffs against the ground, forming chakra barriers capable of trapping multiple targets. It's a useful support jutsu that allows the other beasts to attack immobilized enemies. This jutsu strongly resembles the 6 paths of pain, dividing the chakra and abilities of a greater being into smaller parts. And of course, it fits perfectly with the Buddhist references, since Menma uses the term Svaha to summon the 9 beasts. It's a Hindu and Buddhist mantra referring to offering and consecration, usually meaning something like "so be it," showing the fullness of the one who chants it. Once again, Naruto takes Buddhist themes and inverts them as a form of subversion for its villains. And then you might ask me, okay Lucca, if he has all this and is that strong, why was he defeated by a Naruto who didn't even have Kurama mode yet? That answer involves many things I haven't mentioned yet, but in short, Menma didn't use this technique against just one target. He used it to hold off the Akatsuki while he fought Naruto one-on-one. Yes, Menma could have used this jutsu to wear Naruto down even more and deal extra damage without even directly controlling it, since everything suggests the beasts are autonomous. But the fact is, Menma still has more abilities I haven't mentioned. For example, even back then, he was already a negative emotion sensor, something Naruto only learned after obtaining KCM1. So Menma already had sharp sensory abilities, probably because of his affinity with Kurama's darker side. Imagine how broken he could have become if he had mastered KCM1 like Minato. And like any good Jinchuriki, Menma also has his Biju transformation, where he literally summons Kurama to fight by his side. It's not like B swapping places with the Eight Tails or Gaara's sleep state. It's actually stronger than that. He can freely summon Kurama and fight alongside her, without the same dependency B has, where he'd suffer the same damage as the Eight Tails. So you'd have Menma using his Dai Rasen Ringu like atomic bombs side by side, with Kurama firing Bijudama. And to finish off this guy's broken arsenal, there's also his fusion with Obito, where Menma gains access to Obito's Sharingan. And man, Obito uses a ridiculously overpowered Genjutsu through Menma's body. He basically erased all of Naruto's memories in a brief exchange of glances. One slip was enough for Obito to completely wipe his opponent's memories, somewhat similar to what he did to Yagura in the manga. Yeah, Obito using Genjutsu in a fight, and of course it took plot and outside help for Naruto not to lose to Menma yet again. But anyway, I think I've talked enough about his abilities. Now let's talk a bit about the character himself. Menma, unlike Naruto, had everything in life. Loving and present parents, motivation, and he didn't suffer discrimination for being a Jinchuriki. You could say he had a normal childhood full of love with both parents alive. However, at some point, he received half of Kurama from Kushina, and from then on, a lot changed in him. My speculation is that he received the more aggressive and difficult half to handle, the yin side, a fox more connected to hatred and far more vengeful after being sealed for so long. Maybe that deeply affected his mind, especially considering that in the Naruto manga, Minato kept that half when he split Kurama's chakra, and he only managed to handle it because he spent an eternity inside the Reaper's seal, constantly confronting it. Menma's personality strongly resembles the dark Naruto we see at the Waterfall of Truth, where Naruto confronts his own shadow. He's a character driven by the fox's accumulated hatred, and perhaps because of his integration with Kurama's dark side, he also learned those exclusive abilities of the nine-masked beasts. So, likely influenced by the fox's more malicious side, Menma decided to unify the ninja world's power to control everything and everyone. He joins Tobi and helps with the Eye of the Moon plan, defeating powerful ninja from various villages and being labeled an S-rank criminal. He's also shown defeating poor Yugito, the Two Tails Jinchuriki. It's actually a pretty cool story, but let's answer one more question. All this Menma stuff. What happens here is that Road to Ninja was the first Naruto movie where Kishimoto personally worked on the script. The same thing later happened with the Boruto movie and Naruto the Last. I personally haven't found a clear consensus on whether it's canon or not. Many people label it non-canon because they see it as an alternate universe, but I don't fully agree with that argument. The truth is, Kishimoto had direct involvement in the movie. He worked on it similarly to what happened with The Last. Of course, The Last had a novel and seems to have been more tightly connected to the main storyline. Road to Ninja contradicts some manga events, which also leads people to consider it non-canon. But I don't know. What do you guys think about all this? Would you consider Menma canon? Leave it in the comments.